All right, let's kick off another episode, a Hump Day episode of Lucas, Tigers, and Bronzo Mine. I'm really excited for today's episode because I think I'm going to bring you an under the radar type of play. And I don't think any other accounts, any other content creators have even spoken about this guy. And I think he's someone that should be on your radar, and he's going to be worth multiples compared to what you could get him for. And right now, he's pennies on the dollar. So I'm excited about my play. I'm excited
a Donald
about
Foyle? Is it a Donald Foyle from the Golden State Warriors?
Is that your play?
No,
I don't know who that is.
You don't know who a Donald Foyle is? Oh my God!
No.
All right, gotta look it up. No, he wasn't.
Has he got swag?
Good. He wasn't very good. No, he wasn't very good. He wasn't very good at all. That's why I figured no one else is going to talk about him.
Did you watch the TNT show yesterday? Do you watch the Shaq versus Kenny Smith race? You know what I realized? Shaq's still an athlete. Shaq's an athlete, man.
It always looks like Kenny Smith's going to fall.
Yeah. But, I mean, Shaq's a big man, big man, and he's not in the best shape. And he beat him to the, you know how they run to the screen?
They run to the screen.
Shaq's an athletic guy, man.
Yeah, well, listen. Right. I like Shaq, but Shaq gets no hobby love. Shaq is cardboard irrelevant.
How are your cardboard relevance going? What has been the general feedback? Do people like them?
I like
it. Positive comments?
Depends what I don't want to, like you say, I mean, this is like, it's good stuff. I don't want to dilute it. I'm going to still try to put it out there as many as I can, but it is what it is. I mean, the cardboard relevant, I like doing it. This has been a busy weekend. My son's birthday, all kinds of fun stuff going on here. So I didn't get a cardboard relevant out yesterday. Maybe I'll do one today. Lots of stuff going on, man. Lots of stuff going on.
The one thing that will break up Cage and I, our partnership, is any type of feedback on Cage's content. So today I asked Cage to post something on the page, and he posted a regular video as an IGTV video. And I was like, hey, buddy, can you repost this? Yeah. And he just ghosted me. No response.
Maybe you sent that message to somebody else.
You think so? I think I sent it to like my sister or something?
Possibly, because I didn't even see it.
Well, that's a shame. Let's talk a little bit of NBA. It's a slow start to today's episode, but I hope it's just downhill from here. What's top of mind? What do you want to talk about? What's Cage thinking about in that beautiful suit of yours?
I don't know, man. I don't know what the difference between posting videos on IGTV and regular stuff. I post, and it comes up with either short form or long form. Whatever one it says it's in, I just go for it.
Whichever one it defaults to.
Whichever one it defaults. That's like this. So that's me, man. I'm a defaulter. So whatever one it defaults to, I assume that it is defaulting to the right one. So I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Like I said, sometimes I don't even know what I'm going to say. Let's see. What's top of mind today? Top of mind today. It's funny. I was looking at charts this morning. I was looking at charts because I got my first Ethereum last night. So I'm not going to make this a Bitcoin episode or a crypto episode. But it's funny. I just for fun, for my own edification, as you like to say, I looked at some charts for the last 6 months, like year to date, let's call it charts. And you look at cards, the card market. You look at like crypto, stock market a little bit, Ethereum. Look at a bunch of alternate asset classes, you name it. The charts are very similar. Like you look at Bitcoin, right, and pull it up from like February, and look at cards. So cards sort of peaked there in February. Bitcoin started to go up in February. And Bitcoin, it had its little peak maybe a little slightly after cards. And then, it kind of Top Shot was another one. Very similar chart. It was like this, almost like Bitcoin, like this like flat kind of thing. And then boom, it going up. And it kind of has dribbled its way back down. And it's funny. I wonder if it's just like we're in that like economic cycle. Like people are talking about cards themselves, right? People talking about like the sports card market and, it's a dip of the market or the bubble burst in the market. But if you look at the chart and overlay it over some other asset classes, similar asset classes, collectible type of asset classes and similar people who are in this hobby who also are in the crypto space and that kind of stuff, you'll see an overlay of a similar chart. Not exactly the same, but very similar, peak, drop, you name it. And it got me thinking, like, maybe the card thing is just an overall market thing. A question I had was, there were a lot of questions last year while we were in the thick of the bumps, going up, right? Everybody was riding high, and it was COVID. And there were things like, well, how much of this is sports cards, nostalgia, you name it, how much of it is that we just can't be doing anything else? Like we're all locked up home, on the internet, on eBay, on, wherever it is, buying things, and you can't go out and do anything else. And everybody's disposable income is now in this, right? No one's going out to dinner. No one's going on vacation. Nobody's partying. No one's going to the club. Nobody's doing it. And, do we think that the reopening of the world has actually had an impact on this stuff? Are people using their disposable income on real life things again instead of intangibles? I mean, it's funny stuff. It's just the stuff that I think about. And kind of where I settled on it was, I think it's a no, because while the things I just named, they all went up in time, I think what I'm seeing is the fickle nature of the participants in these investments, these collectibles, these asset classes. Because I just named Top Shot as one NFT type of thing, but the newer ones that have come out, they're all experiencing peaks now, right? They didn't have a peak in February because it didn't exist. You know what I mean? I see this Bored Ape Yacht Club all over, Twitter. I think LaMelo Ball even bought one, so it's relevant to our sports show. I see, Gary V's V Friends are on the secondary market selling for more Ethereum than they were originally auctioned off for. So, the evidence for me would point to, it's not that it's just an overall market. It's just that I think people jump from one thing to the next so fast. And, for our hobby, talk about last year. We've done this, right? Like, basketball was hot, vintage was hot, Pokemon was hot, then it was gone, then it was tennis, and then it was, whatever the hell else it was, Marvel cards, and then it was, not modern basketball anymore, and then it was, F1, I mean, so it's just, I don't know what to think about it other than I have been on the sidelines buying cards. I bought a couple cards here and there. It's been interesting to watch the sociology of it. I'm wondering whether you see any of the similar stuff. I'm wondering whether our audience now, after listening to me kind of go off on this, what your guys' thoughts are on that. Do you try to collect the same thing and just toe the line, or are you also jumping from one thing to another, trying to catch that peak, trying to, be in at the right thing at the right time and then jump to the next one? What are your thoughts, man?
My thoughts are, so how much is gas in New York right now?
It's like $2 and change, I think. Maybe $3, depends on where you go, self-serve, the whole 9 yards. But yeah, I mean, like high twos.
High twos. California is like much higher, right? Like 4.5 in some places.
Wherever it is, it's definitely significantly more than it was,
right? Even
a year ago.
So another thing I read was I think someone posted this in like a Facebook group or something, but it was like first time I spent $500 on groceries in my life. Maybe it's just that basic essentials. When the last few months that the Fed kind of came out and said there is a bit of inflation, nothing to be worried about, but there's a little bit. Maybe it's just that everyday goods that we need, the essentials, have gone up in price, and that cuts into disposable income, investment income, and things like that. Could it be something as simple as that?
It could be. I mean, obviously, it's one of those things, right? We only have a set amount of money, right? And if more of it's being diverted for those essentials, and you don't have that disposable income to spend on other things that was there, and when you combine that the costs are up with the fact that people are now paying for dry cleaning again, to go to work, and and people are paying for their train fare or gas money to drive where they weren't driving before. I mean, I got a lease car that is now 18, 19 months old, and I got 3,200 miles on things 19 months old. I mean, what am I gonna do? So yeah, I mean, it's definitely an argument. It's definitely an argument.
And then you pair that with I mean, I would say that I don't think grading companies were a result of the hobby boom, but I don't think that without grading companies, the hobby would have boomed the same way it did. Would you agree with that statement?
Yeah, 100%. That's 100%.
How much? So we have everyday, gas, groceries, everyday things that you need. Prices are going up on those. And then at the same time, there's just tremendous uncertainty when it comes to what I call the market makers, the grading companies in the hobby. I think these two are the main factors. Let's talk a little bit about the grading companies because we're approaching July 1st. BGS just shut down. SGC is taking in the bulk of the cards right now, and you surmised or you project that they're going to be backlogged very soon. What do you see? What do you? I know it's uncharted territory. No one's going to hold your feet to the fire and say like, "Hey, Cage, if you make a wrong estimation or projection here, we're gonna there's going to be repercussions." But what do you think is going to happen in 60, 90 days with these grading companies? You think it just returns back to normal? Is there anything that you're a little bit annoyed about or upset about with these grading companies? If you're, the commissioner of the hobby, do you have any words for them?
Well, I mean, listen, it's a very interesting thing, right? Because I don't think there's a cookie cutter answer. I like to think that, so many people got into this because they were enjoying the hobby, nostalgia, you name it. But I think it would be naive. And guys, call me out. Tell me if I'm wrong on this. I'd love to hear some comments on it, right? Of the messages, because I think looking back, a lot of the hobby participants got in because it was easy money. Everybody enjoys a flip, right? Everybody enjoys an easy flip, right? And, I don't know how many people got into VFriends because they like doodles or because they thought it was going to be something that they could put one Ether into one Ethereum and then sell it for 2 the next week or sell it for 3. I don't know how many people really liked cards or really liked base cards and what percentage were just, I know that there is a flip here, like I could do with sneaker flipping. I know that if I buy enough of these, I can flip it. And I think that may be gone. You know what I mean? I think that may be gone. I mean, I would love if I were if I were in charge, I would try to find a way to bring that back. You know what I mean? Because obviously I think it's going to cause a lot of people to leave the space. But maybe, I mean, listen, we're talking really in the abstract here. Is that a good thing? That there's not flippers in this and it's all collectors. There's no more investors. It's all collectors. I don't know. Honestly, I don't think so. I think that the investors, the people who are sitting on, those 7-figure cards, the only reason why those cards got up to that high is because the lower cards also got up, right? So, the only reason why people were talking about $250,000 Top Shot moments were because, for LeBron, were because the base moments were selling for thousands of dollars. Yeah. Well, now when the base moments are $50, no one's talking about $250,000 Top Shot LeBron anymore. It's the same type of thing, right? And I think it's short-sighted if you're one of those people at the top to expect those top cards to stay high if you're cutting the legs out from under you. But again, I could definitely be, 100% wrong here. Can I ask you those legs?
Sure, those legs come back. The flippers are quick to come back. Once they see a little bit of money to be made. Yeah, as long as there's money. Right, but so there's money to be made. Then there's a period when there's not. But then there's booms again, right? It cycles back, and the
not
flippers.
Like what we just saw. Nothing like we just saw. I don't think there's been a time like that in the hobby ever.
Wow.
When you combine grading and you combine that stuff, 100%. I mean, look, the hobby was huge in the late 80s, but you didn't have that whole grade flipping stuff. I mean, there was a lot of people, a lot of new blood who came into the hobby in late 80s, early 90s, but you didn't have this whole, buy raw grade, garage sale mentality. I'm going to ask you, so we've talked about this. I have not heard anybody say this. So again, I can't wait for your play because I love hearing things that no one else is talking about, but I haven't heard anybody say this. Everyone was quick, including us, to have on institutional money and people who are ready to talk about institutional money. And you did a great analysis of the difference between retail money and institutional money and how when institutional money came into this, that was going to be a difference maker. And when we hit records in February and everybody was talking about how this is completely sustainable because it's now not retail money, it's institutional. It's people who are seeking alpha. Right? We had Darren Herman from Bain Capital on, right? I don't forget anything. And, we talked about how all of these people were going to come into the space and that was going to be a dump of money and people were going to be looking for specific cards. And, those cards were going to keep going up because people were going to be putting their money into it because there's money to be made here. And that's a 7 or 10 year thing. And it's going to be blah, blah, blah. Can I ask you, where the hell is all that money? Where did all those people go? Where did everybody go? We heard so much talk about those institutions are going to bring their money. There's going to be funds created. Remember, that was the buzzword in February. Of course, the golden auctions are legit. Funds are buying all these cards, and it's going to keep going because these funds are going to compete with each other, and they got to get these cards. Everybody, the funds, right? That was like the buzzword. The funds are going to be. Where'd you go? Where'd you go, funds?
I love how you ask questions. There's no one in the game that asks a question like Cage does.
Well, listen, in my life,
I got a question.
I'm
I
not
have a
allowed to
question
lead,
for you.
right?
It leads into the question,
Yeah,
and it ends up being a rhetorical question. It ends up being a rhetorical question.
It's the only time I get to lead in asking questions, so I love doing it. It's like a paragraph, not really a question. It's like a paragraph with a question mark at the end of it. So, but yeah, I mean, but the serious question is, do you think the funds were never really there? You think they disappeared? You think they've backed away? What's the story?
I think you could judge more by someone's actions than their words. So a lot of people came on and said that there's funds here, right? But if there was truly a fund here, and there are funds in the game, wouldn't they be dip buying right now? Wouldn't they be looking at the?
Maybe I don't know. Maybe they are. I don't. But seriously,
wouldn't they be looking at a Michael Jordan card that was a third of the price, and they're like, "Wow, I could basically get 3 for the price of 1. This is a score." You would think so, right?
If these funds are there, yes, you would think this is the time for them to be, buying if they're still there. Or maybe the funds, like everybody else, are also fickle. Maybe the funds are buying Z horses. I mean, maybe the funds bought a bunch of doodles. I have no idea. Seriously, I don't know. But we are in an interesting time, man. And I mean, I get messages every single day from people. Every single day. Hey, what do you think? Hey, what do you think about the cards? Let's talk. What do you think? Is this done? I get that a lot. Is this done? And, part of what I used to say when it was just a dip was, no, there's all this institutional money. Just listen. You just got to put your ear on the street. Put your ear to the ground. And you'll hear all these funds are leveraging. They're leveraging into the market. This person's creating a fund. That person's got millions of dollars from this person, and they're going to be buying up all these assets. Where'd you go?
I think of it differently, man. I really do. And one of my favorite quotes is, how you do one thing is how you do everything. When you first started losing weight, for example, Cage, remember the first few weeks, how easy that was?
Yes.
But then as you keep going with it, it kind of evens out. It gets a little bit more difficult. It gets a little more challenging. You're fighting harder for inches. It's definitely harder. And I think it's fair that it's harder, because if it was easy, everyone would be walking around shredded with a 6-pack and huge shoulders. But it's not easy. And I see the same thing here. If you stay consistent, if you learn, if you improve, over the span of 1, 2, 3, 5 years, you'll see results. If you're constantly on and off, and if you're taking things day by day by day, and one day you think the hobby's, flourishing, the next day you think the hobby's dying, I think that's an unsustainable mindset to approach anything with. Forget hobby, forget investing, just in general. Things, industries. I once heard Jesse Itzler say this when he started Zico coconut water. He said it takes 7 years to build a brand in America. 7 years. This is what the consultants at Coca-Cola, before they bought Zico, said. It takes 7 years to build a brand. I think we live in a culture where we want things extremely quickly, and then we have stimuli all over the internet, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, where there's just nonstop bombardment of information, and we don't know how to think for ourselves. And when you see that, you see one influencer tell you the hobby's dead. The next guy tell you that F1 and soccer cards are the next big thing. The third person says the hobby's in great hands. And you sit there and you're like, I don't know what to think for myself. And it's a difficult position to be in. But my answer is, is the hobby dead? No, it's not even close to dead. I think we're going to see a bigger boom cycle than we've seen in last year. I just don't know if it will be in 7 years. And the question is, will you have the fundamentals and the discipline to be in the game and put yourself in a good position? So in 7 years, you're not going from 10,000 to 100,000. You have 100,000 saved up, and you could capitalize, and you could go 100,000 to 3 million. That's where I see the difference between really successful people and everyone who stays in the middle class. It's the disciplines, it's the fundamentals that they prepare so that when there is an opportunity in the market, they're able to capitalize. That's how I see it.
So what I took from this, guys, it's a lot of great stuff in there, but the most important thing is don't drink too much coconut water. Because if you drink too much, forget about it. It's like, especially you're in Mexico. I mean, you double down with Mexico and too much coconut water, and you are in trouble. Nah, but
Why?
No. Because man, you'd be
Coconut water is so healthy.
okay. Well, it's very good if you have 1 or 2 servings of it. You drink too much coconut water, that coconut water is going to be ending up down your leg. It's no good, man. It's no
You're
good.
good. You're vivid.
Yeah, well, you made me explain it. I think the audience already got it, but sorry for that, folks. I had to explain it to Dunce over here. So,
I've had a lot of coconut water. I've never had that issue.
he knows how to format a video, but he does. Well, listen, what you and I consider a lot is a different story. So I'm talking about like just you're slamming. Like if I did my 2-liter stuff with coconut water, forget about it. It would be bad. Let's just call it like a Drano for the system. Is basically what you're doing to yourself there. Don't drink too much.
I'm really fortunate. As you get older, you realize like some of the things that work in your favor. Like I've always been a water drinker. I just slam waters down all day.
Well, I mean, listen, that works. I drink water also, but my water is carbonated water with caramel coloring. I mean, it's very.
You do understand that's not water; it's liquid. Licado.
It says caramel. It says water right on it. It says carbonated water. It's the number 1 ingredient. Number 1. I'm reading it though. It says
I hear you, brother. When nutritionists say like you have to drink like 2 gallons of water every day, they don't mean 2 gallons of soda. That's not the same thing. So
all right,
let me get into my play.
Whoa,
there's this coach.
You don't want to talk about coconut water anymore?
No, there's this coach. His name's Pep Guardiola, and he used to coach Barcelona. Actually, one of my favorite teams was when he had coached Messi, Ronaldinho, and Eto'o. That team was unstoppable. It was so beautiful. Actually, Rijkaard was the coach, and then he passed it on to Guardiola, who's just a master tactician. And he had this great comment to this young Barcelona player. He's 21, and this guy's name is Ricky Puig. And he after a game just recently in the last week, he says, this guy's a talent. He's a star. He's been on Barcelona for a long time, but he's not seeing first-team action. And he says, dude, don't be discouraged. Remember, Iniesta didn't see first-team time until he was 24. And we all know how amazing Iniesta is, right? So with that, I went and I dug a little bit. I wanted to see Ricky Puig. How much are his cards? What am I looking at? And guys, I know we're looking at Ansu Fati and Haaland and Reina and all of these guys that some of the influencers in the hobby talk about, more than likely because they're holding some of his cards.
Wirtz, right? Wirtz, and what's the other dude's name? Lukaku.
Yes, yep, on Dortmund. But this guy's already playing for Barca. This guy's very talented. He has some of the best coaches.
It's pronounced
what did I say wrong?
Barca, like a lounger. Barca lounger.
Yes, he's already playing for Barca. And I think if you take a look at this guy's cards, because you're able to get, and I'm not going to tell you which soccer card to get, but I'll give you just a few comps. So there's a red Prism mosaic of this guy for $20. Okay, you could get his sticker card with Frankie De Jong, and we know how much people love stickers, for $12. You could get his mosaic base for $5. You can go and get like an obsidian or a parallel. Whatever floats your boat with this guy, go for it, because you're going to be spending pennies on the dollar with him. You might be able to find cards of his for $1 to $2, and he's going to be a star. He's just a little slower in development than some of the other guys because Barcelona is stacked with talent, and they don't necessarily promote youngsters like they do in other clubs. So I see that Guardiola likes him. I've watched his games and I watched him play. He's a talented young guy. He's already on Barcelona, and you can get this guy's cards for cheap. I think it's worth taking a look for our soccer fans out there. It's worth taking a look at this guy.
So what's the upside? Are you expecting him to get more play time? You expecting maybe to go to another team? What's the upside on this?
The upside is just going to make the first team in the next 1 to 2 years.
So he's going to get more playing time.
Yeah.
More playing time.
He's 21 years old. It's a lot to ask a 21-year-old to run the midfield.
And his cards are rookies this year? He's got rookies in Mosaic, or these are – yep.
He's got rookies in Mosaic 2020, 2021. That's right.
Cool.
And they're cheap. Like it has the RC stamp. They're really nice looking cards. It has the La Liga Santander stamp on it, and they're you got $10, $15 for some of the parallels. You could pay a little bit more. For the silver mosaic, there's one on auction right now. It's ending in 17 hours. It only has 3 bids. So yeah, he's a rookie this year.
I like it.
And that,
I'm sure you're not going to hear about it anywhere else.
I don't
never
think
heard
so.
of the guy.
Can
you spell his last name for the folks?
Riqui Puig. Puig. Riqui Puig.
Cool. All right, that's easy, man. I mean, that's easy stuff. Puig. Puig. Puig.
Mm-hmm.
Like Yasiel Puig.
Mm-hmm. And his father played as well. So has a bit of lineage in his family. Carlos Puig was his father.
So my play, not soccer, but it's not for everybody. All right, it's one of these long game, different type of plays, and it's based on a little bit of fun here. We've had our hobby. It's got a whole bunch of craziness going on here, right? And we have a lot of people running away from modern, from base cards that telling you to buy, numbered parallels, you name it, the whole deal. So I started thinking, all right, what normally happens with our hobby, and I'm trying to, again, give you also something that nobody else is going to give you, but from a different perspective. What happens in our hobby is something explodes, right? Something goes up and it carries other things with it, right? So the 86 Jordan Fleer, that started going up. I'm not talking about the 700s. I'm talking about even just going up from 25, 40, up to 100 or up to 200, right? That went up first because that's the leader of the pack. That Jordan is that's the bellwether, right? It's the one that's gonna be first. But after it goes up, you know what happens? Other guys in that set that are now way cheap by comparison, they start to follow up. And people start to see the Hakeem Olajuwon, the Patrick Ewing, the Charles Barkley, the Dominique Wilkins, the Karl Malone as cheap by comparison because they were a set price to Jordan when Jordan was 25 or 40. And then all of a sudden Jordan goes to 100 and you're like, all right, well, the Jordan is 2.5 times the price. Well, you would think that these other guys are going to go up too, and they do, right? And maybe they don't jump at the same ratio. Maybe they don't go up crazy. But ultimately, if you didn't have money for Jordan, but you watched that Jordan card go up, you could grab one of the other guys. I bought a bunch of Olajuwons at one point in time, a couple of years ago, and Jordan started to move. And you were able to ride that wave up of something because the main one catches headlines, right? Everybody knows about the Honus Wagner and T206, but you know what? You could also go ahead and buy yourself a Ty Cobb. Go ahead and buy yourself, some other players, right? That there's always that top name. So I noticed an auction that ended on June 6th. Now, keep in mind, I know that there's a lot of things going on that made this auction go where it is. I know it's a PWCC auction, I think, and who knows if it got paid. It's only a couple days old, but on June 6th, you guys can check this out. It's on the eBay completed auctions. A 1999 Upper Deck inKredible, INKREDIBLE. So ink, like autograph ink, inKredible. Tier 2, so it's limited. I think it was number to 13 because it's a jersey number they limited to, kind of like they do the jersey number autos now. For Wilt Chamberlain, sold. Now, this is a highly sought-after card. Obviously, Wilt Chamberlain is Wilt Chamberlain. He doesn't have a ton of autos out there, and you name it. But these things don't come up a lot. It sold for $188,000.
I like those autos, too. The inKredible autos.
Yeah, they're cool, right?
Very cool. Very cool cards.
I started looking at the set, and not only are there George Gervin and Nate Archibald, and look, I'm not comparing these guys. That was a 10. It was a PSA 10 of a tier 2. There's not a couple of them. What are there? 2, 3 of those that are out there in PSA 10. Obviously, it's a huge thing, right? And I'm not telling you that the plays I'm going to give you now are going to be $188,000, right? I mean, if you find a Michael Jordan numbered out of 23, that's PSA 10. That's a pretty good card also. But there are guys in this set that you can find right now on eBay. I'm talking about Bob Cousy, I'm talking about Nate Archibald. I'm talking about George Gervin. I'm talking about legitimate, Wolf Frazier, Elvin Hayes, right? And
Elvin Hayes is $15. I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, so you
It's
saw
incredible.
it, $15, right? So, and it's not a PSA 10. It's not Wilt Chamberlain. The autograph itself is not as rare, obviously, as some of these, as Wilt Chamberlain is. I mean, look, Walt Frazier. There's a Jerry West, right? I mean, there's a ton of names in that set that are your all-time greats at the time that you can get for a fraction of the price. Now, there are tier twos that are a little more money. There's also cooler, common ones, more modern ones. Not modern today because it's 1999 set, but there's a Vince Carter. Carter has a tier 2 numbered to 15. That's going to be a little more costly, but it's not going to be $188,000 yet. Right? Anthony Hardaway has one. Penny Hardaway has one. Tony Kukoc, if you like the old Bulls stuff. The point here is I'm not going to tell you which one of these guys to buy. I'll also tell you that they had a football set that year. Joe Namath numbered to 12, but he goes
Bro
high
Namath?
as Joe. Yeah, Bro Namath. But Joe Namath's in it. You're a Philly guy, go ahead and grab the Donovan McNabb, I'm not telling you to go and buy Mookie Blaylock, but, he's got a fan following in the basketball ones. Chris Carter, Steve Largent. There's hockey ones, you know what I mean? With like legitimate hockey players as well on there. I mean, Gretzky has one. Again, not telling you to go find a crazy Gretzky one. I think the tier 2 Gretzky was hand numbered out of 25. That's going to be expensive. But
Can I give a cool one? I'm looking these up as you're telling them. There's a Terrell Owens.
Yeah, Terrell
one,
Owens
incredible for $123.
$100. Yeah, literally, I saw that. I saw $100. Now, guys, just so that we're all on the same. Mark Jackson, right? I mean, he's going to be in the news, right? Mark Jackson. Terrell Owens has one. I mean, Nolan Ryan, going to baseball. I saw a Robin Yount one sell PSA 10 for nothing the other day. I just started watching these because that and some of them are cool, like the Mark Jackson signs, God bless. I mean, look, there's Maurice Rocket Richard on the hockey ones. Stan Mikita. Everybody knows about him. Mikita's Donuts, right, from Wayne's World. I mean, there's so many names, like Joe Montana has one that's numbered. I mean, there's just so many cool autographs from the same set across different sports, and I'm only bringing this up because right now you can buy so many of them cheap, right? So there's a couple of them, $5, $6, $7. They're not the greatest names, $5, $6, $7. I have a feeling, I mean, obviously there are some better ones, but I have a feeling that sale will do that whole like rising tide lifts all ships kind of thing. Now you go out there and buy yourself a Maurice Taylor, from the Clippers. That's probably not going up that much, right? It's not gonna be a huge amount of demand for some of these guys that are on here. I don't know how some of these people made these sets, but there are some legitimate names in here that are nowhere near the price. I mean, don't buy Corey Alexander, Adrian Morel, Dorsey Levens. I mean, there are legit names, Hall of Fame names or borderline Hall of Fame names that I think this is a cool set. I just think it's a cool set. People are talking about autographs now. People talk about, like your autographs from today's game. This is one of those like first legit autograph set. They also, I think the set was called like Epic. There was a similar set, Epic, at the time. That has not had like a huge sale, although I'll bet you a Chamberlain would sell pretty high on that one soon too. But I'm telling you, inKredible. Check them out, guys. I mean, it's just one of those cool things to add to a collection. You're never going to get hurt buying a $15 Elvin Hayes autograph or Walt Frazier or any of these guys that are in this set. It really is, it's like chock full of them. I mean, I will also, like I was about to say, I don't own any of these, right? I'm not going to buy them because I want you guys to buy them, right? I'm going to start doing a lot of this, right? I'm also probably going to maybe list somewhere what my collection is, just we were all on the same page about what I own, what's out there, what we're doing, because we're giving plays, right? So there's got to be some transparency there. So I'm going to tell you guys, I love this play, and if I didn't do a podcast, I'd be buying up all of these Hall of Famers on eBay for $15, $20, $25, just because, I have a feeling that you're going to get a headline grabber. Like somebody's going to see, I mean, could be an article. Somebody's going to see Wilt Chamberlain autograph sells for nearly $200,000. Oh, it's the inKredible set. Well, who else is in that set? Well, these are $20, $25, and there's some pretty decent names too. So anyway, there's my play. I don't think you're gonna get the inKredible set on any on any other podcast today because everybody's too busy telling you to buy Lewis Hamilton's jockstrap. But instead, I'm here telling you that I think there's a play here that is not going to cause you to have to sink too much money. But I think it's one of these like no-brainer type plays.
I think so too. I think it's a beautiful set, and I love on-card autos. And some of these guys that we're talking about, they've passed away.
Yeah,
or they're at the end of their lives, and you're able to get a legend of whatever game, baseball, football, basketball, with an on-card auto. A lot of these guys might have a total of 100 on-card autos ever. So I think it's brilliant. I've been looking at the set for a while. Let me ask you, Cage, are we done with your play?
Yeah, sure. Unless you had questions about the play. But yeah, we're done. Ask away, man.
LeBron going from jersey number 23 to number 6. How does that affect his cards?
It makes me happy. I have a LeBron number 6 jersey.
The USA team? The USA jersey?
No, the what number did he wear with the Heat? He wore number 6 with the Heat. Yeah, so I have
the 2012 Prism?
I have his jersey. Like I was playing basketball on one of these carnivals by my house, and you get the shot in, and if you get enough shots in, in a row, they'll give you a jersey.
And you didn't want to get the jersey of the best player on the Miami Heat by any chance? You settled for second best?
You're funny. No, I mean that was the
Dwayne Wade jerseys were sold out at this point.
I'm pretty sure that what had happened was I got 3 balls, I sunk 3 shots, and it was It was right after he left the Heat. So it was one of those like nobody wants to buy the jersey anymore because he's not on the Heat anymore, so they were giving him away. So I hit it. I'll take the LeBron jersey, and I've had it for a while.
Swish by Cage, just.
Maybe I don't remember. The ball might have bounced off the rim a couple times, but it's one of those carnival hoops, man. You kind of gotta swish it. It doesn't like there's not a lot. They're I'm not casting any aspersions on the carnies here. I'm not saying that they trick us. I'm not saying they use the balls inflated and the rim is slightly shorter and difficult. But I definitely did hit 3 in a row. Well, you never heard,
okay.
You've never seen like the carnival tricks. You ever knock the 3 cans, the milk jugs down with a softball or a beanbag, and they have to go off the platform. But you notice they tie a rope around it so that when they roll, they stop because the rope is slightly higher than the platform. You've never seen? Come on, you got to look this stuff up, man. This is how they just trick kids out of their money.
Savages. That's not right.
What kind of life do you live? You never went to a carnival and lost your money
No, I've been to carnivals and lost money. I didn't go on YouTube and figure out how they do it.
It's not that hard. It's not hard to see how they do it. Oh man, that's funny. All right, so what else? Your question about LeBron with the number 6. How do I think it impacts? I think it's interesting, man, because it's always cool. People collect jersey numbers. People do that stuff, and it's just another thing to talk about. It's another, it's another LeBron, headline.
So no effect, really.
It depends, right? So if next year sets come out that have action shots of him wearing number 6, I could see a slight increase. People looking for those cards, right? If only 1 or 2 sets in the year have him in his new jersey, I could see people who are LeBron fans. Oh yeah, just like it was his first Laker jersey. Well, here's his Laker jersey number 6. I'm a cynic. I just think the NBA is behind it so they can sell more jerseys.
I was going to say the same thing.
I'm pretty sure it's the number he wore in his movie. And so what they want is every headline that's coming out now, and now the movie's coming out. My son got some toys for his birthday.
Nice.
Like a stretchy LeBron, like Space Jam toys. So I think that, if again, cynically, I would say LeBron loves the fact that there are headlines that say LeBron changes his jersey number to 6 to match the jersey he wears in his movie. Everyone go see it. Buy your popcorn. He didn't wait to change his jersey number until right before the season started. He's changing it now.
Today.
Right before the movie's coming out. So.
Love it. And that's another episode. Any final words before we... No, I don't have any other topics. What's so funny? I don't get the humor. I missed the joke.
And that's when what you got to do at the end? You do like a G.I. Joe thing. And knowing is half the battle. You got to give a little tip to people at the end. That's one to grow on.
Stay the course. Stay the course. Progress takes time. Progress takes time.
I like it. There's his tip. That's it. And knowing is half the battle. Right, as they say on the G.I. Joe. All right, guys.
Yeah, but I don't know what that means.
You never
it just
watched
sounds
G.I. Joe?
provocative.
You don't know who G.I. Joe is? What, knowing is half the battle sounds provocative to you?
No,
Man.
I was just I was thinking about something else.
There are weird things that provoke you in G.I. Joe. Interesting. Well, listen, LukaNation, we love you. It's fun to bring you these kind of episodes where we get to do a pick and kind of go through them. We didn't even talk about how the Jazz came back on the Clippers last night. It was pretty impressive. I mean, I gave them a hard time, and that was a close game. We'll see what happens. It's a long series. But I did say, for me to believe in the Jazz and Donovan Mitchell and these young guys, go out there and beat a team like the Clippers. The Clippers were up big. I mean, they were up like 12-13 in the second quarter, I think. They were up big. Boogie showed up and was making plays. I didn't even know he was on the Clippers. And, and then, Mitchell showed up, man. He showed up. This is the time to show up. The lights are brightest. So give him
I didn't watch that game. I watched the Sixers game, but I'll tell you, I think the Sixers are in trouble. I really do.
After last night's game, where they looked pretty good last night. They handled the.
They really didn't, man. They went up by 20. I think they went up by 18 points. It was 28-10. Then at the half, may I finish? Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
So they went up 28-10 after being blitzed at home. So they were embarrassed the game before. They came out hot. They came out. They were sending a message. They went up 28-10, and then the energy just left the room, and they ended the half 57-55. People forget it was a tie game until they put Shake Milton in. Shake Milton has been ice cold, and he went off. Cool. I'm happy for the guy. I love the Sixers, but outside of hoping and praying that Shake Milton goes off for 5 of 6 for 3-point range, and Embiid is just a monster. Other than that, who's their offense, Cage?
Ben Simmons, dude, the free throw shooting champ. No? Ben Simmons
Fine,
not
you
the
don't
offense.
have any discussion.
I'm serious. Ben Simmons is a player, man, isn't he?
No, he's a great passer and a great defender, but he's really poor offensively. He is.
But what do you do now to change that? Right, you have to go. Nothing. This is who came to the dance. Is Tobias Harris? I mean, he had a great first quarter. Is that not offense? I mean, they can't go sign somebody now, right? So
I'm not saying that. I'm just giving you an observation the same way that you gave an observation on the Jazz.
Shake Milton. So icy shake. That was the deal. We got an icy shake, and then he came out and he heated up. He heated up the icy shake, and he showed up 5 for 6 for 3.
I just think the difference is going to be Atlanta has 5-6 good perimeter players. Sixers have, I'll say Tobias Harris, a good perimeter player, but that's it. And I think that's the difference. I'm going to talk a lot about Kevin Huerter in the offseason. I don't know if you watched the game. But he played extremely well. He makes some young mistakes. He turns the ball over. Yep. You see, on one end, he had a block. On the other end, he finished. He's a great shooter. I'm really excited about Kevin Huerter. I think they're going to build a special culture with him and Trae Young because they have those guys on really, really friendly, team-friendly salaries. They're both drafted in 2018. So I'm excited, and I'm really going to be talking a lot more about Kevin Huerter and this Atlanta Hawks team.
Trae looks legit, man. The Hawks look legit. Trae looks legit. And one more I'll ask. Lowest drafted MVP ever. Jokic. No surprise, obviously, that the Joker wins the MVP. So
no surprise at all.
No commentary on that. You think this is a one-time thing, or you think that he's got the skill set to repeat? He's somebody who is going to be the MVP.
It was a little down year in terms of talent. Like it wasn't Kevin Durant's best season. It wasn't LeBron's best season. Jokic is amazing, but like if you compare Jokic to Durant, like Durant is just a freak talent, a freak athlete, and he's really good. So I don't see how he wins back to back. But
funny,
it's possible.
Man. Hoops Nation put out a little thing today. Top 10 people in the NBA, and Joker was like 7th on it. Like top players in the NBA right now. Joker was like 7th on it. It was like, tell me why I'm wrong. And
what was the 7?
I mean, LeBron was 6. Durant was up there. Giannis was in there. I think Luka might have been after him, actually. I mean, I could find it. But the point I'm trying to make about it is the MVP might not, the way the game is played now, the MVP might not go to the best player in the league. It's going to be the best season in the league. And what we just saw with the Nets, Those three guys aren't going to play a full season. There's going to be load management like crazy. Kawhi is not going to play a full season. LeBron's not going to play a full season. Anthony Davis not going to play a full season. These guys with these super teams, they know they're going to be there at the end. They get hurt, they take time off. And maybe the MVP now is going to be, that guy who actually, is coming out of nowhere playing a whole season for a team that kind of, overperforms. So it doesn't necessarily mean it's the best player in the league anymore, I don't think. I mean, maybe that's just the state of the game now.
I think the best player in the game right now, it's an open tryout. I don't think there is a best player in the game. I think you can make arguments for 3, 4, 5 different guys, depending on the night, depending on how they're playing. Kawhi, Embiid, Jokic. I mean, Durant. I mean, there's a few guys that I think are in contention for the best player in the league, depending on the game.
Yep. Agreed.
LeBron.
All right, well, we'll see. LeBron. Yeah, he's not even the best player on the championship teams. What are you talking about? No. LeBron.
You enjoy this. You were the kid in high school that just you went to this one guy and you started trouble. Then you went to his girlfriend. You're like, you just started trouble. You just started drama.
That's right. I'm a drama starter. That's me. That's all I'm about. Aim and flame, baby. Vegas Cage. All right, LukaNation, we love you. And I love the last 2 minutes of this. You tried to end this, and I bring you just when you thought you were out, I pull you back in. All right, guys. Talk to you soon, everybody.
Must be something they put in the water. If you guys know that movie quote, that's what's up.
Must be something they put in the water. That's Happy Gilmore.